Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You know, when I listen to Ken, I've been listening to him coming in and doing these introductions all day. It reminds me that when I came over to this country from India about 45 years ago, I used to be able to speak as fast as Ken does. Then I went to Texas, and they said, "You're in Texas. If you speak that fast, you'll never survive." So I had to learn how to slow down. But now I think I have to learn how to speed up again because, Ken's actually got this absolute demeanor to be able to mesmerize you with sentence that comes after sentence, before sentences, and finally jokes. Anyway, today, we'd like to talk a little bit about what we see 1 year later. How many of you were at Accelerate last year? Quite a few. So last year we had two major themes that we talked about. We talked about the Amazon effect, and we talked about the supermarket of the future. So 1 year later, let's see what we got right, what we got wrong, and how AI will take us forward. The first thing we talked about is that the shopper habits continue to change, driven by dual-income families and smartphones being underneath this whole change of how shoppers want to shop. Clearly, this was actually good news for savvy retailers who actually embraced the change. The pundits said, this is the death of retail. As an industry, we're proving them wrong. We believe that there is an interesting piece of study that tells us what's happening. In 2017, PricewaterhouseCoopers came out with a study that said, for the past 40 years, shoppers are increasing their shopping in physical stores. But very counterintuitive to what everybody thinks is happening. Why? 1 in 3 consumers who shop at a retailer rank the trust in brand and knowledgeable salespeople as the top reasons. Now, you heard about the Heinen's Mystique. What was in there? A really good product and knowledgeable salespeople. So clearly, the whole consumer demand is to say, I want to become want to go to more of a destination rather than just go shopping. So the important attributes of this are taste, education, excitement, empowerment. These are the things supermarkets should stand for. I was excited to see what Marianne had to say about it. Now, let's say where we've actually seen this as a major new key theme is in Italy, for example. It opened in November 15 in Bologna, Italy, 1 million square feet, 40 farming areas, 40 restaurants, 8 educational rides. It's a veritable amusement park for the foodies. They're expecting 10 million people to come to Italy, and that compares to about 20 million people who come to Disneyland. So it's an experience that they've created that is fantastic. Now, by the way, there's an Italy in Boston, just a few blocks from here. It's a smaller version, but I'd like to make sure that you actually get a chance to try it out. Next thing that we have seen in terms of what consumer behavior is doing is shopping online. Shopping online for groceries is actually, over the year, taken more speed than we thought before. We believe that 70% of the shoppers will be buying their groceries online in 5 to 7 years. That's a long-term prediction. And even in the short term, we believe that the market for online groceries is going to become $100 billion in the next 2 years. Now, the trajectory there is pretty phenomenal from a growth point of view. In 2017, only about 2% of the $800 billion grocery market was online. Now it's going to be 20%. But there's a caveat. Retailers must up-level the experience of online buying, because if they don't, they'll lose customers. Click and collect is here to stay, but are the retailers listening? Only 25% of the retailers are actually providing click and collect today. And then there is pickup at the curb. Kroger's doubled its online digital business by delivering pickup at the curb. That actually is the next thing that they believe customers are looking for. So if you think about where we are today, the key question that you have to ask is, what else is happening? Well, the center store is moving to subscription model. Our friends at InfoScout did a study where they saw some key items that had actually moved out from the center store to this kind of subscription delivery. At this point of time, 14% of Amazon's customers are subscribe and shop customers, save customers, and more of these categories are going into that mode. But the most interesting thing about it is that 8 out of 10 of those subscribe and save customers are buying one brand for one category. So there is some brand loyalty associated with this as well. So I told you, retailers must actually make themselves follow the change. For those who don't, there are drastic consequences. Let's talk about Amazon in a little bit more now. We said last year, Amazon intends to disrupt grocery retail. When the first day they closed Whole Foods, they dropped prices, and other retailers lost $11 billion of value in one day. Now, what does this mean? 16 months later, look at Amazon stock. It's skyrocketed. It's 75% up. When you look at the rest of the retailers who lost their $11 billion of value, they've barely been able to recover from that, and maybe a little bit more ahead of that where they fell off. So clearly, this disruption has been felt. Amazon, with their acquisition, nobody can argue that this acquisition did not create some great momentum for Amazon. Look at what they have done to the private label growth in Whole Foods. Look at what they have done with prime discounts in all markets, 1-hour delivery. But other retailers are fighting back. Walmart bought Jet.com. They bought Flipkart in India. They've got an alliance with Google. They have a partnership with Microsoft to deliver cloud to fight Amazon on all fronts. If you look at Target, they've gone and bought Ship to be able to accelerate their online presence. Kroger bought Ocado. Instacart did something quite different. 200 grocery retailers flocked into Instacart, and they basically now are supplying click and collect capabilities in 240 market areas where they were only in 20 market areas just a year ago. So clearly, this competition is shaping up very fast in terms of how to deliver maximum value. And it's smart of Instacart to do this because Amazon's dominant, but from a grocery point of view, only 4% of sales are going through Amazon. The next thing we talked about last year was the demand for prepared foods. And prepared foods is actually an area where it's directly a result of dual-income households not wanting to have planned dinners for the whole week, not making a dinner decision till about an hour before dinner. I saw this banner called What's for Dinner? It's very interesting. In terms of what we said last year, in this country, in the US, if you ask people at noon what would they have for dinner, 83% of the people don't know. 50% of the people make their decision of what they want to have for dinner 1 hour before dinner. And 30% consume whatever they pick up, wherever they pick it up. So it's a very different kind of a dynamic here. And the demand for prepared foods has given rise to the word grocerant to compete with restaurants. $35 billion, additional 10% growth in 2018. That is 5x the growth rate expected from traditional restaurants if you ask the National Restaurant Association about it. So this is an area where retailers are going full speed to try and figure out how to react to it. Wegmans, for example, has opened a 146,000 two-story store, where one story is all this prepared food restaurants. The other story is full of fresh food, because that's what they want to do. Others have gone towards food kits. Albertsons bought Plated. Kroger has bought Home Chef. Then H-E-B bought Faber. Costco is teamed up and delivering Blue Apron. Stop and Shop is delivering HelloFresh. So clearly, there are two themes coming along here. One theme is prepared food in the shop itself, and the other food is packaged food. Restaurants are reacting to the food service boom in a very different way. Chipotle Mexican Grill has actually created a new line just to service online orders from Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash. And other restaurants are putting terminals and iPads for each of these services so that they can expedite delivery of that particular order from their own stores. Let's look at private labels. That's the other big thing that we talked about last year. It is the next battle in supermarkets. So there are 15,000 private label manufacturers between US and Europe, and that's not counting the local people. The people who are synonymous to private label are Aldi and Lidl. Lidl and Aldi both had huge plans of attack in the United States. Lidl wanted to get 50 stores last year, another 100 stores this year. That's slowed down a little bit, but they're going full blast in 28 other countries. Aldi, on the other hand, has a $5.4 billion store expansion program in the US that's going full blast. They want to get to 2,500 stores and get to be number 3 size for retailers from a number of store point of view, compared to Walmart and Kroger, and just ahead of Albertsons. Now, almost all of these people have really catered to not only having private labels, but doing the taste and experience that brings customers into the store. Nielsen private label sales analysis says it grew, huge growth in private label, and InfoScout says no matter who you are, everybody buys private label, 100% of the households. So what does that mean? We now have $146 billion of private label spend, almost $1,200 annually for each household, which is 20% of their total spend. Now, competitors really take heed when Lidl and Aldi enter a market. Some of the competitors actually dropped prices up to 55% because Lidl was there. Now, everybody's talking about organics as a big thrust in terms of private label. Albertsons' organic business has grown to $1 billion. Their total private label business is about 20%, and they're trying to take it to 30%. Kroger's Simple Truth organic line has grown to about $2 billion. But the next battle is local. I was really excited with what Miriam showed about actually going to the farmer's market, or the Amish market there, and buying the food that you can actually take to the supermarket the next day. The whole local revolution for fresh, I think is going to be a major, major growth area, and it's going to be a lot more complex, because there you're dealing with 30,000 to 50,000 local suppliers if you are a nationwide company. So major change that's coming in private label. So let's talk about what we think in the future. Home delivery is the next battlefront, and Walmart's jumped ahead. They cover 40% of the nations in home delivery already. But what's happening right now is that the home delivery cost for grocers is still having a tough time being rationalized. However, if you look for home delivery excellence, look no more than Domino's. Domino's drives 10 million miles each week. Every day they're delivering 1 million pizzas. And still they have 93 consecutive quarters of same-store sales growth. So therefore, they have actually figured out what the cost of delivery model has to be for a $10 pizza or a $15 pizza delivered in 30 minutes or it's free. And not only that, when you look at Domino's, it's one of the top 10 companies in terms of online transactions. 95% of the smartphones in this country have Domino's ordering app. So they figured something out that is really, really interesting here. The other thing that's happened in terms of the home delivery experience is that starting from Uber, consumers have been actually trained to say, if I press the order, first on Uber, I can see the car coming at me. I can see how many minutes it'll be there. And as Ken says, if it's more than 5 minutes, I'm really pissed. You can do that on Grubhub. You can do that on DoorDash. They'll actually tell you who's picking it up, tell you when the food has actually been picked up, tell you where the car is coming. You have this experience that says, I know what's happening to my order, not I'm going to go to this barcode and punch track and see what's happening. The grocery industry has not really come to the point where they've actually accepted that this part of technology is a major way in which you can actually connect with the consumer and give them the experience that they're already getting from other home delivery services. So where do we think we're going here? Clearly, we all believe, and we have been working on use of machine learning, use of deep learning, to provide the next click of what we think we have to deliver to make the grocery, food and grocery people more effective. Now, clearly, robots and virtual agents are here to stay. This is a pizza delivery robot, but intelligent agents are becoming a way of life. And if you see what the penetration is already, 42% of the PwC survey respondents said they'd either already purchased or plan to purchase an Amazon Echo or a Google Home or other consumer AI devices. And what is being seen is that for those who own one, 18% of them said they're actually spending more on shopping because they happen to tell Alexa to go get this thing. Now, if you look at the store operators, 45% of store operators say they plan to increase their use of AI within the next 3 years. So when you pull it together, AI is here. Are you ready?
Okay, Cindy, show me sales for snacks in North America.
Analyzing sales for snacks in North America.
Meet Cindy, a first-of-its-kind artificial intelligence-enabled digital assistant for grocery and hard goods retail that is transforming the way retailers work.
Sales in North America are $398 million, up by 0.3%.
Cindy processes billions of bits of data in real time, mining trends and anomalies to serve up answers in seconds that would take a team of analysts hours, days, or even weeks. But Cindy is so much more than the fastest number cruncher around. Retailers have lots of complex questions. Many go unanswered, or even worse, are answered incorrectly or inconsistently. Okay, Cindy, how are sales for cookies in Denver?
Analyzing sales for cookies in Denver.
Cindy has highly advanced contextual intelligence. She can understand your questions, analyze the massive underlying data, extract the insights, and choose the most effective, easy-to-understand visualizations.
Cookie sales in Denver are down by 0.5%.
Okay, Cindy, what are people buying instead of cookies?
There is significant movement from cookies to rice cakes.
But Cindy doesn't just answer complex questions. She uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to understand cause, and recommend the best actions to take. Cindy quickly sees your challenges as opportunities, even if you can't at first.
Chocolate cookie sales remain strong.
That means there might be an opportunity for promoting chocolate-covered rice cakes. This is only a snapshot of what Cindy can do for you. In short, Cindy does what is humanly impossible, helping you make more intelligent business decisions that drive sales, profit, and customer loyalty. So next time you need fast answers and smart recommendations, why not ask Cindy and have a conversation that matters? Thanks, Cindy.
You're welcome.
So Cindy is, live in the Innovation Zone. I'd strongly recommend you actually take a look at what she can do for you today. So in conclusion, technology is absolutely the way to fight the disruptions that are coming today. I think both CPG and suppliers and retailers need to be able to invest in technology to make sure that they're not falling behind where the consumer expectations are. And you heard a lot about that from Sandeep and from Maria in terms of where they are going. For retailers who would pick that up, there's a great path ahead. You need to be able to disintermediate before you are disintermediated. You need to be able to disrupt before you are disrupted. You need to be able to make sure that you choose the technologies that help you do that. The time is now. Are you ready for retail in AI? Thank you.